I cheated on my husband of 10 years with his best friend and felt like I had everything until my husband found out and ruined everything. Hi, I'm Mason 32M and my now ex-husband, Rick 33M, were together 15 years and married for 10 before he ruined everything. In the beginning, we were all over each other, but over the last 2 years, Rick's job landed some lucrative construction contracts, which has Rick working long hours and also being gone for days. When he was home, he would just shower, eat, and cuddle with me as he passed out from exhaustion. I was feeling neglected and lonely, so I did what was reasonable. I cheated. Over the span of our last 2 years being married, I had 12 short-term affairs while he was off working. I successfully kept everything hidden from Rick and our families until I began sleeping with his best friend, Shane 33M. It had been going on for 6 months, and I brought Shane into the marital bed several times. Everything fell apart when Rick returned early due to finishing up the project early and under budget. He had requested a week home and picked up food from my favorite Thai place to surprise me. But once he opened our bedroom door, all he saw were Shane and I in the bed. We both froze, and before anything could be said, Rick lunged at Shane and began beating him severely. He was yelling at Shane that he was a filthy bastard, and when I tried to stop them, he just looked at me with such heartbreak and disgust I shut my mouth. Eventually I called the police, and when they arrived, I lied and said Shane was my husband, and Rick was a jealous ex that broke in and attacked. Rick was led away in a shocked daze as I went over to patch up Shane. He slapped my hands away and said to never contact him again. I tried to follow and talk him back into bed, but he ignored me and drove away. Before he blocked my number, he texted that he went to the police and told them the truth. I waited patiently for Rick to return home so we can talk this over and go back to normal, since it was just one mistake. He never showed up that night. 3 days later, he returned with his parents and twin sister. When I tried to talk to him, his mother and sister corralled me away and tore into me. While this happened, Rick and his father packed up all his belongings and put them in his truck before they all left. I couldn't do anything but fall to the ground, sobbing for Rick to come back and to not leave me over nothing. Weeks went by, and I heard nothing from Rick until a courier came and served me divorce papers and a letter from Rick stating that he's selling the house, so I needed to vacate in 30 days. I screamed and destroyed the living room before falling to my knees. After I caught my breath, I tried to get into his bank account to clean him out, but my access was denied over and over. I then tried to book hotels after I waited until the 30 days were up and packed frantically. But the bastard canceled all my cards, so I had to move back in with my parents. They were so disappointed in me, but let me stay in my childhood room. I rolled my eyes once my back was turned, because I knew I could win Rick back in due time. That night as I lay in bed, I texted him that I wouldn't cheat again, and I would forgive him for treating me this way. My text went unanswered. 3 months later, he sold the house, and our divorce hearing was tomorrow. I was barely able to afford a lawyer, but I was ready to win everything I deserved for giving Rick 15 years of my life. When the proceedings began, my lawyer laid out how I selflessly gave 15 years of love, support both physically and emotionally, and I was devastated that our marriage is ending this way. But I was open to marriage counseling and reconciliation. But if this divorce goes through, I am entitled to half his assets and half the proceeds from selling our home. The judge was silent and motioned for Rick's lawyer to present any evidence. I watched smugly, thinking I had already won, but the lawyer crushed those feelings quickly. He revealed my husband hired a private investigator and a finance investigator and uncovered my dirty secrets. All I could do was watch as minute after minute my hidden affairs were aired out to the judge, and they even showed how I attempted to get into his bank account, but failed due to security measures he put in place. How is it stealing if my husband's money belonged to me anyway? The judge looked at me with so much contempt and disgust. I flinched and turned to get my lawyer to say something, but he just shook his head and packed up. The ruling was brutal. The divorce was granted immediately. I would have to pay back the money I used for affairs, plus his attorney fees. And the judge finished by saying I should be ashamed of my actions, and that this hearing is finished. I left the courthouse dazed, broke, and in debt all in one day. My parents refused to help me pay the money and forced me to get a job. So now I'm working at a gas station and barely making the court-ordered payments while Rick moved on with his life. How could all this happen to me? All Rick had to do was accept my apology, forgive me for cheating, and we could have continued with our life as a married couple easily. He even filed a permanent restraining order when I came to his job to win him back. This is all ridiculous, but I know he'll come back to me in due time. After all, I'm the best thing he ever had.